What's going on, family? Welcome back to Isrock's Movie Reviews. And being the fact that we're going to be entering Valentine's pretty soon, I just wanted to go ahead and give you a string of hits that I considered love stories. I'm not big on rom-coms, but my sense of movies with love and themes of love, you're going to get my direction when it comes to that. And I'm going to take you back to 1990, where we're going to be discussing a movie called Ghost. And this movie managed to not only do it for me, but when I first saw this movie, I was very, very young. And it took me till I got into my late teens, early 20s, to really find the definition and find the meaning of this movie. This movie was awesome. It starred Demi Moore, the late Patrick Swayze, and the marvelous Whoopi Goldberg. And if nothing else, the popularity of this film guaranteed a revival of the great love song, Unchained Melody. For all you youngins out there, go look that up. Unchained Melody, such a great song, and it's being remade a few times. It's always a pleasure when good music is heard on the airways, and we have this movie to thank for that. It was a little treasure in the making, and definitely made a comeback back then. This movie also provided Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore with a couple of career roles as a typical yuppie couple, settling down in Manhattan in Tribeca. And when tragedy strikes one of them, as it turns out, that's only the beginning of the story. If you were to describe Ghost, I guess the best way you can describe it is it would be a drama fantasy with some humorous moments, mostly as a result of the casting of Whoopi Goldberg as a fake sidekick. She kills her role in this. She's a comedy genius, but she comes into the story in the middle of the film. Patrick and Demi, from the Brat Pack era, alumni, now eager young urban professionals in this movie. Demi makes and sells her own pottery, while Patrick works in a bank in a high-end area. And when we meet them, they're starting to fix up their apartment, which is a loft, with one of Patrick Swayze's co-workers, played by Tony Goldwyn, who was phenomenal as the villain in this movie, and we'll get to him later on. But one fateful night, after seeing a performance of Macbeth, which is ironic, Swayze's killed as a result of a street mugging. But was it just that? A simple robbery? Not by a long shot. And Swayze, who was killed before his time, is angry, of course, and he's angry enough to stay on Earth and find out what really happened. Of course, he needs an ally, and that's where Whoopi comes in. Turns out that there might be a little truth in her advertising as a spiritualist and consulting to the dead, which is, she's so funny in this movie. Good enough for Whoopi to win an Oscar for the Best Supporting Actress at this time. She really stood out in this movie, and she really had great chemistry with both Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. The other Ghost award was won by the original screenplay, which was amazing. This movie cinematically, it's the backdrop of, Manhattan, New York City, and, that plays a character in the story, New York in general. But you won't forget Patrick and Demi as a pair of star-crossed lovers, literally. You also know that the universal fates will reunite them, because people who care for each other as much as they did aren't destined to be apart. I do love the song Unchained Melody. It's introduced originally by blues singer Al Hibbler in the 50s. It got a revival a decade later by the Righteous Brothers. And Tony Bennett also recorded a fine version of this song. And after his death, he previously unreleased the version that was put out by the Bing Crosby's estate. It's a perfect song for the theme, and it represents Swayze and Moore in this film a great deal. One of the best love stories of the last decade, or maybe the last century, despite the tragedy that takes place. This movie is definitely a feel-good story. I love Ghost. It's a film that manages to be both romantic and glamorous, sometimes even at the same time. And it also manages to mix the sentimental and the supernatural, which is wonderfully executed in this movie. That's one of the positives. The production values are great. The special effects are a treat. And the costumes, lighting, sets, And as I mentioned, the cinematography are top rank in this. The soundtrack also fits accordingly, which is important in the movie. You know, this is Unchained Melody is a touching song, and it used to have such great effect, and it definitely does in this movie. The script is good quality, and the story has a great premise with a poignant love beyond the grave theme, and an ending that proves to be pure gold, and it works. You know, Jerry Zucker's direction is flawless. It's very good in this. You know, the performances were the positives here, because I have no negatives, I have no missed aspects. I loved the performances from Patrick Swayze, who gives the performance of a lifetime as the murdered banker who tries to warn his girlfriend that she's in danger throughout the movie. Demi Moore, I feel, isn't as good as he is, but she does play the role. In fact, she's okay, you know, and she starts to get better through the course of the film. But it's Whoopi Goldberg who steals the show here, and it's a performance that's outstanding. Her presence doesn't jar at all. It livens up the movie, you know, which could have been a very slow atmosphere if she wasn't in the movie. I think the movie still would have came out pretty good, but she gives it that taste, you know. But all in all, this was a great film, a great premise, and worth seeing. Definitely go check it out. Not only for there, but for the portrayals of the villains also. The actor who plays Willie, who actually murders Patrick Swayze in the movie, was awesome. Tony Goldwyn, pure gold. Definitely go check out this movie. I give it a 9 out of 10 easily. And Godspeed, and rest in peace to Patrick Swayze. Finest performance you're ever gonna see from him. If you liked this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. And if you want more content from me, please subscribe to the next one. Peace.